Welcome back. We were doing problem number 1. Right now, up till now, we have completed all journal entries which were present in our question. Those transactions were changed into journal entries. And secondly, we have started converting these journal entries into ledgers. And here you can see cash ledger is completed, capital, furniture, and building. These four ledgers were completed, and it's now time to make next ledgers, and we will continue posting transactions present in the journal into ledgers. And here you can see the marked entries, they have already been posted into the ledgers. Unmarked entries are needed to be posted yet. So here you can see several unmarked entries are still pending. So the last ledger which we have completed was ledger for the building. After building, now see which element is unmarked. It is purchase. So we are going to make ledger for the purchase. What we will do, headings for every ledger is same. I am taking heading from the previous ledger and writing for the next ledger. The only thing I will change is its title and date. Since we are making ledger for purchase, let's change the date as well. It's fifth ledger. Remaining all the headings are same. As you can see, it's little easy on doing or making ledgers on Excel. Why? Because I'm just taken the copy of previous headings and pasted for the next ledger. But for you, it might be a little extra work. You will have to draw lines again, you will have to write headings again. So if question had come or arrived in your paper, you will have to be very quick, very efficient in drawing the lines, in making the format. Here we are making ledger for purchase. Purchase is debited by 30,000. Rule is very simple. The ledger we are making, we will see the title in journal entries. If title is present on debit, we will post the same amount on debit side of the ledger. If title is present on credit side, we will choose credit side of the ledger. So debit do debit and credit do debit, credit do credit. Purchases were present on the debit side with 30,000, so you will choose debit side of purchase ledger and we write 30,000 in amount column. It's time to see the reference. This was purchase and this was purchase with 30,000. What is written on the opposite side? It's Asif account payable. So you are going to write to Asif, which was your account payable in particular column, as your reference for 30,000. So this was your 30,000 entry. Purchase was debited. Now let's see what is date. January 1D. So you are going to put date as well. January 1D, I think. Let's see what was the date. Okay, January 1D. Purchase was required to be posted on debit side. We had posted, that means 30,000 entry has been completed. Mark it as it has been done. Now we will see if any other entry contains purchase. Here the next entry, January 2, purchase is also present. 60,000, it is debited. We will choose the debit side of purchase ledger. We'll write 60,000. And now we will see its reference. So reference of 60,000. We have already posted 60,000. What is written on the opposite side? To cash. So we are going to write to cash in particular column as a reference for 60,000. Now let's see what is date. That is January 2. Put date January 2 as well in date column. This way our posting for 60,000 is completed. Here it was 60,000. We had posted it. It is completed. Mark it as it has been done. Now let's see if purchase is present elsewhere. We have all these entries and look if purchase is present. And I hope no purchase is present in anywhere else. It means all posting for purchase is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. For balance, first step, to have sum of both sides. We have debit side, two amounts are written over here. Calculate sum of debit side. This is sum of debit side and nothing is mentioned on credit side. So total of credit side would be considered as 0. Now make comparison of these two totals. One side total is 90,000, 0. Make comparison, which is the larger sum, 90,000. So you will choose 90,000 as larger sum and you are supposed to put larger sum on both sides, 90,000 here, and same amount 90,000 you are supposed to post on credit side as well. So these are the steps which you will have to follow. Step number 1, sum of both sides, choose larger sum and write larger sum on total of both sides. Next step is to choose smaller side. Here the total was 0, so credit side is the smaller side and you will choose to write initial balance. What title you will give? Buy balance. And what balance it is? It is initial balance. How would you calculate? By subtracting small sum from the larger sum. That means larger sum minus smaller sum you will do over here. And now you will calculate mathematical statement. What was the larger sum? You can see over here it was 90,000 and you will subtract smaller sum which was 0. So here you have got your initial balance. Next step is to brought it down to the opposite side. We had calculated this balance on credit side, opposite side is debit and we will bring it down. Same balance, same initial balance, same amount you will be posting to the opposite side but downwards. That is why the title which we will give it would be buy balance, but this balance is brought down balance. And this was our requirement for calculation or for making the ledger. Requirement completed, it means purchase ledger is completed. So mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after it. So this way your ledger for purchase is completed. These sums were written just for the reference. Now they are unneeded to be written over here. You can erase both of the sums. All right. Now it's fifth ledger we have completed. Let's see what is next. We were making ledger for purchase. What next is unmarked? This is Asif 30,000. So we are now going to make ledger for Asif. And what we will do, we will take all headings of previous ledger and we'll write again for the next ledger. We are making Asif account payables ledger. So here you will write title Asif and he is your account payable as well. For Asif, we will be focusing in journal and we will see where Asif is present in any of the entry present in all of these journal transactions. All right. So first entry we have seen is in January 1D. Asif was credited by 30,000. Go to credit side of Asif and write down 30,000. It was 30,000. All right, amount has been written. See its reference for 30,000. This was Asif, we have credited. What is written on the opposite side? That is purchase. So you are going to give reference by purchase over here. See 30,000 date. It is January 1D. So you are going to put January 1D in date column. This way posting for 30,000 is completed. This was your 30,000 and we have posted it. Entry completed. Mark it as it has been done. Now you can see the view from first entry to somewhere entry number January 2. Both postings debit and credit has completed and we will be doing the same thing for the rest of our question. Several entries are still vacant. We are making Asif's ledger. Let's see if Asif is present in any other entry. Here we have in January 18. You can see Asif is present over here. On debit side 16,000. Go to Asif ledger and write down the amount 16,000 over here. It was 16,000 I hope. Yes. Asif January 18 16,000 is debited. Now see what is its reference. The element which is written on opposite side would be used as reference. It is to bank. So we are going to write to bank over here. Let's see 16,000 date, which was January 18. Put date over here, January 18. Posting for 16,000 is completed. This was Asif 16,000. We have posted. Mark it as it has been done for January 8. So still it's not completed. I will have to see if Asif is present anywhere else. Now we will go to downwards and see if Asif is present anywhere else as well. Alright, I'm unable to see Asif at any other journal entry. I have seen twice as well. Asif is present in January 18 and Asif was present in January 1. It means all transactions are posted for Asif. It means after posting we are now ready to calculate the balance. We will take sum of both sides. Sum of debit side is 16,000 as it's the only amount present on debit side, and sum of credit side you can see is 30,000 as it's the only amount present on credit side. Make comparison of both totals. Sum of credit side is 30,000, sum of debit side is 16,000. Take and choose and pick the larger sum. Within 30 and 16, larger sum is 30,000, so we are going to put same larger sum on total of both sides. So first we are putting 30,000 on debit side and same total will be picked and to be written on credit side as well. First step is completed. Now choose the smaller side. Here 30 and here 16. Smaller side is debit. There you will write the balance, but it is an initial balance, and how it would be calculated by subtracting small balance, small sum from the larger sum. That means you will write larger sum and then subtract smaller sum from it. There you will get the balance. So now see what was the larger sum. Credit side sum was 30, debit sum was 16, so larger sum is 30,000 and you will subtract the smaller sum which is 16,000. So here you have got the balance. Now next step is what? You are going to brought it down to the opposite side. This initial balance was calculated on the debit side, and now we will choose the opposite side, that is credit, and will bring this balance downward. As we are bringing it down, that is why we will name it a balance, but that balance was brought down, so we will write BD. This was our requirement for making Asif's ledger. Requirement is completed. It means ledger is completed. So mark it as it has been done by putting a ending line after it. These sums were written just for the reference. Now they are unneeded to be written over here. You may erase them. This way, fifth ledger, Asif's ledger is completed, and number was, we haven't edited the number. Number is 6. Sixth ledger, Asif completed. So here we were, Asif ledger was completed. Asif was present here on January 1 for the first time. Now let's see what is next. You can see entries are marked. We will directly go to the entry which is unmarked. So it means we are going to make ledger for sales. For next ledger, we will be doing the same thing. That means we will pick headings from the previous ledger and we'll write these entries for making the next ledger. And we are going to change the title first. Now we are making ledger for sales, and we will change the number as well. Number 7 ledger is for sales. Come to the journal and see where sales are present. All above entries are marked in green. Here there is sales for the first time. You have seen in the journal January 3 sale is credited 44,000. So what you will do, 44,000, you will go to the credit side of sales and will write 44,000 over here. All right, and now see its reference for 44,000, and that was cash, which is written on the opposite side of sales. So put its reference by cash in particular column. Now see what was the date for 44,000. It was January 3rd. So we will be putting date January 3rd in date column, and hence 44,000 is being posted, and posting is completed. Mark it as it has been done. So we will see sale if it is present anywhere else. Yes, in the very next entry we have sales which is credited by 28,000. So go to the sale ledger. 28,000 would be written on credit side. We will choose the same side which was present on the journal. Sale was present on credit side. We have chosen the same credit side in the ledger as well. 28,000 is credited. Let's see what was the reference for 28,000. Here it was sale. What is written on the opposite side? This is Shahid. So you are going to write name of Shahid as a reference. In particulars column we are selling, so Shahid would definitely be account receivable 28,000. Let's see 28,000. Now you can see account receivable is already mentioned. Sales posting is completed, but we are needed to write the date as well, January 8A. So put date over here. It is January 8 and A. Date has also been mentioned. It means posting for 28,000 is completed. For sales, mark it as it has been done. Now we are not yet completed our ledger. We will see if sale is present anywhere else as well. Please excuse me. So sales, we are very keen. Okay, we have seen sales over here. So sale has arrived again on January 22. Sale is credited by 38,000. We will go to the credit side of ledger and will write 38,000 in 38,000 in amount column. So it was written 28,000, and thankfully it has been picked immediately. Otherwise it was a hell of difficult to see where mistake has been done. It was a typographical mistake. It's a human error. It is possible, very easy to be done by anyone. Instead of writing 3, it was written 2, but believe me, it was the most difficult error to be found out. 38,000 is credited in sale ledger. Let's see what was the reference of 38,000. Here you can see sale was credited 38,000. What is written on the opposite side? It is bank. So you are supposed to write by bank in particular column as reference for 38,000. See what is the date, that is January 22. Put date January 22 over here. It means posting for 38,000 is completed. This was 38,000 and we have posted it. Mark it as it has been done. Still several entries are present here and you are required to see if sale is present anywhere else as well. No, sale is not present. It means all posting related to sale is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. First step is to write sum of both sides. This is debit side. Nothing is mentioned over here. It means sum of debit side is 0. And now you will be calculating sum of credit side. On credit side we have 3 amounts. I'm taking help from Excel, and Excel will calculate the sum of all the amounts present on credit side. This is 1,10,000. This is 0. Now make comparison of total of both sides. One side 1,10,000 and other side 0. Choose the larger sum, which is 110, and you are supposed to write this total on both sides. First total 1,10,000 you will be writing on here, and secondly you will write the same total on debit side as well, which is 1,10,000. Step completed. First step was to calculate sum, choose larger sum and pick this larger sum to be written on total of both sides. We have done. Choose now smaller side. Next step is to choose smaller side, which is debit side. So here you are going to write balance, which is your initial balance. How would you calculate this initial balance? By subtracting small sum from the larger sum. So what you will do on calculator, you will write larger sum will subtract the smaller sum. What was the larger sum among of these two? You can see credit side total was 1,10,000 and it is the larger sum. right first, and you are going to subtract sum of debit side, which is 0. So here you have calculated your initial balance. First step for calculation of balance is completed. Now next step is to brought it down to the opposite side. We have calculated initial balance on debit side. Opposite side is credit. We will choose it and we'll write the same balance which we have calculated 1,10,000 over here, but with the twisted name. Buy balance it is, but this balance was brought down, that is why we will mention it as brought down. And this was the main requirement of making ledger. To calculate the balance brought down, we have calculated it. It means our purpose has been fulfilled. Mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after balance. These sums were calculated just for the reference. Now they are not needed to be written over here. You may erase them. So we have completed sales ledger, ledger number 7. Now let's see what is next for us. So this was sales. See what is empty or unmarked element, that is Shahid. So we are going to make account for Shahid. What we will do, we will take headings from the previous ledger and we'll write these headings again for next ledger. In title, we will change the title first. Now we are making Shahid. Shahid, I'm hopeful he is account receivable, but let's check it out. And we will change the number as well. It's 8th ledger we are making. Shahid, let's see if it is account receivable. So we are making Shahid, yes, he is account receivable. And the first entry we are looking above, you can see all entries are marked. So we are not needed to see anything above. We are looking over here where Shahid is present on debit side, 28,000. We will go to Shahid's account, we'll put 28,000 on the same debit side. Now let's see what was the reference of 28,000. Shahid is written on debit side. What is written on the opposite side? That is sales. So you are going to put two sales as a reference in particular column. For 28,000, what was the date? It was January 8A. So put date as well. January 8A. Posting for 28,000 is completed. This was 28,000. We were making ledger for Shahid. Posting is completed. Mark it as it has been done. Now we will be looking Shahid for the next entry if Shahid is present. Let's see. Shahid, yes. Shahid has arrived in January 16. It is credited by 18,000. Go to Shahid account and write down 18,000 on credit side. We will now be looking for reference of 18,000. So this was Shahid, 18,000. What is written on the opposite side? That is cash. So you will be putting buy cash over here, but actually it was a check. So it's better to write the reference as well. But it is totally dependent upon you. If you don't want to write, do not write. It would not be a mistake. So it was a check which was received from Shahid, 18,000. Okay, now see what is, this was Shahid, what was its date? January 16. So put date January 16 in date column. This way posting for 18,000 is completed. You were having 18,000 over here. Shahid, January 16. We confirmed the same entry has been posted. Mark it as it has been done. Now look if Shahid is present at anywhere else. Yes, again, Shahid is present in January 26th entry, but here there are two references. Shahid is written for 10,000. We will divide this 10,000 into two parts because of two references present over there, 9,800 and 200. But actually we are posting 10,000 on credit side. So we will go to Shahid's account and we'll write two amounts, 9,800 and 200. These were two amounts, but Shahid was credited by 10,000. So we have gone Shahid's ledger. We have chosen credit side and posted 10,000, but that 10,000 is divided into two parts because of two references. Let's see what is reference of 9,800. Here you can see 9,800. Okay, Shahid 9,800, where are you? So here was 9800 as it was marked already, so it was just missing. We have credited 10,000 in Shahid's ledger. First reference is cash and second ledger is discount. So we will go and write buy cash in front of cash 9800, and now we will write the second reference. 200 was the discount, so we are putting buy discount in particular column. Now let's see what was the reference of this 9800. Reference was cash and discount. Now look, there were two references, cash and discount, and we have put cash in front of 9800, discount in front of 200. Date is January 26 for both. So you are going to put date over here, January 26 for cash and same January 26 for discount as well. So posting for 10,000 of Shahid is completed. See where 10,000 is, here Shahid. Posting for 10,000 is completed. Mark it as it has been done. All right, now we will see if Shahid is present anywhere else. These are three entries. Shahid is not present. What does that mean? That posting of Shahid is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. For balance, what we will do, we will take sum of both sides. Sum of debit side is 28,000 as it's the only amount present on debit side. Now we will take the sum of credit side where three amounts are present. We will take help from Excel to calculate the sum of these three items. Here sum of credit side is 28,000, sum of debit side is 28,000. So it's a surprise as debit and credit is equal. You have an idea to calculate of initial balance. How do we calculate? By subtracting small sum from the larger sum. But here there is no small sum, there is no larger sum, both sums are equal. It means balance would not be calculated. So here what you will do, you will be writing larger total, and you know that larger total is not present over here. Both totals are equal. So you will be writing 28,000 on debit side, and you are supposed to write the same total on credit side as well. Both totals are equal. You will not be able to calculate balance because there is no smaller or larger sum. It means ledger for Shahid is automatically be completed without calculation of balance. After completion, put an ending entry to show it as it has been done. These sums 28,000 and 28,000 were written just for the reference. They are not needed now, so you can erase them. We have completed 8th ledger of Shahid. Let's see what next ledger we are going to make. We were making Shahid's ledger. So what is unmarked element? That is typewriter 16,000. We are going according to sequence. We are not picking ledgers according to our choice. Whatever is unmarked, that ledger would be made. This is our sequence. So we are going to make ledger for typewriter. For that, what we will do, we will take headings of previous ledger and we'll write same headings for next ledger. Next step is to change the title. We were making Shahid's ledger, and now it's time to make typewriter ledger. Change its number as well. We are now making 9th ledger typewriter. So focus will be upon typewriter. Here we are starting the first entry regarding typewriter was on January 8. Typewriter is debited by 16,000. So we will go to the typewriter, choose debit side, we'll write 16,000 in amount column of debit side. See 16,000 reference. This is your typewriter, 16,000 debited. What is written on the opposite side? That is to cash. So write down the reference to cash over here. All right, now see what was the date of typewriter. That is January 8B. So put date over here, January 8B. So posting for 16,000 is completed for typewriter. Here was 16,000. We have posted on the debit side of the ledger of typewriter. Posting is completed, so we marked it as it has been done. Now we will see if typewriter is present anywhere else. Look very closely and you must be very attentive. If let's say only a single entry is kept, you will not be able to calculate accurate answers. So we have seen typewriter is not present anywhere else. That means posting for typewriter is completed. It's time to calculate the balance. First step is to see total of both sides. The sum of debit side is 16,000 as it's the only amount mentioned over here, and sum of credit side is 0 as nothing is present on credit side. Now make a comparison of total of both side. Here 0 and debit side 60,000. Pick the larger sum which is 16,000 and now you are supposed to write this total on both side. First you are writing 16,000 on debit side and same total you will be writing on credit side as well. Step 1 completed. What you have done, sum of both side, larger sum you have put on total of both side. Now next step is to choose smaller side. Which side is smaller? Here balance was 0, sum was 0, so you will choose credit side and will write balance over here. It is initial balance. And how it would be calculated, you will subtract smaller total from the larger total. That means what you will write on calculator, larger sum, and then you will subtract smaller sum from it. See what was the larger sum. Total of debit side was 16,000, total of credit side was 0, so larger sum was 16,000 and you will subtract smaller total which was 0. Here you have calculated the balance. It was initial balance. Now next step is to brought this balance to the opposite side downwards. So we have calculated this balance on credit side and we will go to the debit side, opposite side downwards. Write down 16,000 as balance with the twisted name, that is to balance. Since we are bringing it down, that is why we will mark it as balance brought down. This was the requirement of making typewriter's ledger. Requirement completed, purpose fulfilled. Now mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after it. These two balances were written just for the reference as they are not needed now, so we have erased them. Typewriter was number 9th ledger. Now let's see what is after typewriter. This was typewriter. We have completed this ledger. What is next element unmarked? This is iron safe. So we are now making ledger for iron safe. For that we are taking headings from previous ledger and same headings will be written for making the next ledger. So here we have the heading. Next step is to change the title. We are now making ledger for iron safe. Title changed. Now change the number as well. Iron safe will be focusing on iron safe only. This is the first entry which is for iron safe. It is debited by 8,000. Go to iron safe and write down 10,000 on debit side. In amount column of iron safe, see what is iron safe was 8,000. Let me write down 8,000 over here. Iron safe was debited by 8,000. Okay, we have debited 8,000. Now see what is the reference. Iron safe was debited, cash is written on the opposite side, so you will write to cash in particular column. See what was the reference of 8,000, sorry, what was the date, that is January 10. Put January 10 over here. The most important factor of doing longer question is your focus. If you will lose your focus just for the microsecond, you will see there will be a mistake. Okay, so I'm just suggesting and requesting you don't lose your focus. Your concentration would be very solid of doing larger and longer questions. 8,000 posting for J10 is completed. That means 8,000 is posted, matter completed, posting completed. Mark it as it has been done. Now see, iron safe ledger we are making. If iron safe is present anywhere else, for every ledger you will have to be very conscious. No entry should be skipped. Typewriter is not present at anywhere else. It means posting for typewriter iron safe is completed. So we were looking iron safe. Now let's see again if iron safe is present in remaining entries. No. It means posting for iron safe is completed. Now it's time to calculate the balance. For balance, you will take sum of both sides. Sum of debit side is 8,000. Add, there is only one amount present over here. Nothing is present on credit side. So sum of credit side is 0. Make comparison of both sums, 8,000 and 0. Take larger sum, which is 8,000, and put larger sum on total of both sides, 8,000. So we have posted 8,000 on debit side, total of debit side, and on total of credit side you will be posting the same 8,000 as well. One step is completed. You have taken sum, larger sum you have picked and written at total of both sides. Now choose the smaller side. Which side is smaller? Credit side. So you will choose credit side and will write by balance. It is an initial balance, and how would you calculate? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. On calculator you will write larger sum first and then you will subtract smaller sum. You will get the balance. Here, what was the larger and smaller sum? Here you can see larger sum was 8,000 and smaller sum was 0. So you are going to write larger sum 8,000 first, and then you will subtract the smaller sum which was 0, and then you have got the balance. It is initial step of calculation of balance. Now next step is to take this balance to the opposite side and bring it down. You have calculated this balance on credit side. Now go opposite side, which is debit, and write down the same balance which you have calculated initially, but you will change its name. When you will bring it down, you will write balance and will write brought down beside it, because it's a different thing. So this was the purpose of making of calculation of balance brought down for any ledger, and we have calculated balance brought down for iron say, mean the ledger is completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after that. These balances were written just for the reference. Now they are not needed to be written over here. Erase them. 10th ledger, iron safe, is completed. It's time to see what is our next ledger. What we have done, iron safe. This was your iron safe. Now we will see what next element is unmarked. Purchase, it has already been completed I think, and it is not marked. Why? January 12 purchase. We will go to the purchase ledger and purchase ledger January. Okay, this entry is kept. No doubt we have taken very good care of our question, but still this 36,000 January 12 is kept. 36,000 January 12. I don't know how it has been kept, but thankfully we have found it out. So this was the reason why I was marking these entries. This was unmarked and we have immediately picked this entry instead of looking the error after completion of the question. We had seen this mistake. Purchase is debited by 36,000, so you will go to the purchase ledger and will write 36,000 on debit side. One entry was kept. So this was 36,000. Purchase, what is written on the opposite side? That is Salman account payable. So you will be writing to Salman. He was your account payable. Reference has been written in particulars. Now see what was the date for 36,000. It was January 12. Put January 12 in date column. Posting is completed. Now let's see if our balance is correct. We were having three amounts over here. The total would not be 90,000. We will take sum again. Sum of debit side was not 90,000. It is now 1,26,000. So same total will be posted on credit side as well. So total of debit side was 126,000. So you will write 126,000 on credit as well. Now calculate the balance. Here nothing was present over here. It means sum of credit side was 0. So you will subtract smaller sum from the larger sum. Larger sum here is 126,000. So you will write 126,000 over here, and nothing was present on credit side. It means sum of credit side was 0. Here you have calculated your balance 126,000. So balance brought down is 126,000. This was script. Although we have taken a good care of our questions, but unfortunately this purchase of 36,000 was kept, and thankfully we had found out it, and we have now reposted this entry which was kept. 36,000 is marked as it has been completed. So we are now very good. We are now good for the ledgers. Balance is completed. Let's go back to our journal. We have completed iron safe number 10. Iron safe was here. Next unmarked entry is Salman, which is 36,000. So we are now going to make ledger for Salman. For this we will take headings from the previous ledger, and we will be writing same headings for making next ledger. Salman's ledger we are making. We will change the title. Salman, change the number to 11. It's 11th ledger. We will have to see Salman is account receivable or account payable. Salman is account payable, so it's better to give the reference as well. It would make little ease for you at any time. Mark it as account payable. Now we will be looking Salman. Wherever it is present, we will pick and post in ledgers. Above all entries are marked, so we are no need to see above entries present on the above side. Salman here is present and it is credited by 36,000. Go to Salman's ledger and write down 36,000 on credit side. Now see what is the reference for this 36,000. Salman we have posted. What is written on the opposite side? That is purchase. So put reference over here by purchase over here. This way reference is completed for 36,000. And now you will see the date, which is January 12. Put date January 12 over here. 36,000 posting is completed for Salman. It means you can mark it as it has been done. We will see now Salman if it is present, if he is present anywhere else. Salman, we are looking for Salman, and yes, we have found out. Salman is debited 36,000, but there are two references used over here. So we will divide 36,000 into two parts, 35,600 and 400 on debit side. But actually we are posting 36,000. So we will go to the debit side of Salman and we'll write two amounts, 35,600 and 400. Actually we are posting 36,000. Since there were two references, so we have divided 36,000 into two parts, 35,600 and 400. Let's see what was the reference of 5,600 was one first amount and 400 was the second amount. We are posting 36,000. So first reference is bank and second reference is discount. For 35,600, first reference would be used, bank in particular column, and next amount is 400, for which we will use discount as reference with an additional word of 2. Now we will see we have debited Salman with 36,000. Here Salman is debited by 36,000 and we will see its date January 24. For both references, same date will be used, that is January 24 we will write for bank and January 24 we will write for discount as well. Posting for 36,000 January 24 Salman is completed, so you may mark it as it has been done. So Salman's entry is completed. Let's see if Salman is present anywhere else. No, It means posting for Salman is completed. It's time to write down its balance. For balance, what we will do, we will going to calculate the sum of both side. So sum of debit side, we will take help from Excel. There are two amounts present over here. Sum of these two amount is 36,000 and sum of credit side is also 36,000. Why? There is only one amount written on credit side. Make a comparison of total of both side. 36,000 credit, 36,000 debit. It means it would not be, we will not be able to make balance of these entries. Why? What, whenever we will calculate initial balance, we will subtract smaller sum from the larger sum. And in case of Salman, there is no smaller and larger sum. It means without calculation of balance, ledger of Salman would be completed. For this, what you will do, you will write down the total of debit side 36,000 over here, and since total of credit side is also 36,000, so you will be writing same total on credit side as well. Now see, we will not be able to calculate balance because there is no larger sum, there is no smaller sum. It means without calculation of balance, Salman's ledger is completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after ledger. These sums were just written for the reference. Now purpose is fulfilled. You have no need to put these sums over here. You can erase it. Ledger for Salman is completed. Ledger number 11 it was. Now let's see what next ledger we will be looking for. This was Salman and we had completed ledger for Salman. Next unmarked element is bank. So it's time to make ledger for bank. And what we will do, we will take headings from the previous ledger and we'll write down the same headings for next ledger. Title of next ledger is bank. Change the title, change the number of ledger. This is 12th ledger, bank. Now we will be focusing upon bank only. If it is debit, we will post on debit side. If bank is credit, we will post on credit side. Here first bank has been arrived. Bank is debited by 40,000. Actually, a bird was continuously screaming and disturbing me. I had taken a break to take that bird out of my premises, and thankfully, the bird had gone. Alright, we are now making bank's ledger and we will be focusing on bank only. First element has arrived, bank is debited by 40,000. So you will go to the debits, bank is debited, okay, bank is debited by 40,000. So you will go to the debit side of bank and will write down 40,000 on debit side. All right, now see what is the reference for 40,000. This is what we have posted. Opposite side cash is written, so it would be used as reference. So you will write to cash in particular column. Now let's see what was the date for this 40,000. January 14. So put date January 14 beside this entry. Posting for 40,000 is completed. It means our purpose is fulfilled. Mark it at as it has been done January 14. So we will be looking bank. Now third entry, we have seen bank is present. Third from the first entry, bank was debited by 40,000. Next entry is bank is credited by 16,000. So go to the bank ledger and write down 16,000 on credit side. Okay, see what is the reference for this 16,000. This was 16,000. What is written on the opposite side? Asif account payable. So you will be writing name of Asif, who was your account payable, in reference column. All right, account payable. Now let's see what was the date for this 16,000. This was the entry we have posted. January 18 is the date. So we are putting January 8 over here, 16,000. January 18 was the date, please excuse me. January 18 is the date. We have completed the posting for 16,000. It means we can mark it as it has been done. 16,000 is completed. Now we will see bank if it is present anywhere else. Very next entry, bank is again present for 18,000 debit side. We will go to the bank, will post 18,000 on debit side. Now let's see what is the reference. Bank we have posted 18,000, reference is cash, which is actually check. So you will write to cash, which was actually a check. Reference is completed 18,000. So now let's see what was the date, January 20. So put the date beside this transaction, January 20, 18,000, January 20. Okay, January 20, bank is debited, posting completed, mark it as it has been done. Now let's see if bank is present elsewhere. Yes. Next entry, January 22, bank is debited by 38,000. So you will be putting 38,000 on debit side. Let's see what is the reference for this 38,000. You have posted this. What is written on the opposite side? Two sales. So you will be writing two sales in particular column. See 38,000 date. This was 38,000. January 22 was the date. So put date beside it, January 22. Okay, posting for 38,000 is completed. We are making bank account. This amount has been posted. Mark it as it has been done. Again, in the next entry, bank is present. Bank is credited by 35,600. Credited by 35,600. See what is reference for 35,600. This was 35. And what is written on the opposite side? Salman account payable. So we will be writing name of Salman, who was account payable. As a reference in particulars column, amount was 35,600. This entry has been posted. What was its date? January 24. So we are putting date over here, January 24. So posting for 35,600 is completed. So we can mark it as it has been done. Now look at the entries present. Above of this entry, all entries are marked. So we are closing to end this question. There are few entries left and we will complete them. We are making ledger for the bank and we will look if bank is present elsewhere. Yes, bank is present at credit side 6,000. There are two reference, salaries and insurance. So you are going to post 6,000, but you will divide it into two parts, credit 4 and 2. So you will go to the bank and will credit 4,000 first, and then you will write 2,000 on credit side. Since bank was credited with 6,000, but reference was divided into two parts, 4,000 and 2,000. So you will come to the entry there. You can see there are two references used, salaries and insurance. Salaries 4,000 were paid, so you will write reference salaries. And second expense was insurance, so you will write insurance with an additional word of by. 4 and 2, salaries and insurance, right? And now see its date, January 31. So put date January 31 for salaries, and same date would be put for insurance as well. Bank was credited by 6,000. It means entry for 6,000 is completed. This amount has been posted, though we had divided it into two parts, 4,000, 2,000, but 6,000 posting completed. Mark it as it has been done. So this was the last entry. Bank's ledger is completed. It's time to calculate its sum. First step is to calculate the total of debit side, and we are in need to calculate total of both sides. So here we have calculated the sum of debit. Now same you will do for credit side as well. You will take the sum of credit side as well. Four amounts were present. I'm taking help from Excel, and Excel will calculate the sum of credit side as well. Sum of credit side is 57,600. Sum of debit side is 96,000. Make a comparison of both sums. Which sum is the larger sum? That is 96,000. So you are going to post this 96,000 on both sides. Here on debit side, you will put 96,000, and you are supposed to write same total on opposite credit side as well. First step is completed. Sum of both side, larger sum you picked and write and written down on total of both sides. Larger sum was 96,000 and you have put 96,000 on total of both sides. Step 2, choose smaller side. Total of debit side was 96, total of credit side was 57. Smaller side is credit side. There you will write by balance, it is initial balance. And how you would calculate initial balance? By subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. On calculator you will write larger sum first, then you will subtract the smaller sum. So calculate balance. Here are two balances, 96 and 57. Larger sum was 96,000 and you will subtract smaller sum, which is 57,600. This way you have calculated your initial balance. The first step is completed of calculation of balance. But right now what you will do, you will bring this balance brought down to the opposite side. You have calculated this balance on credit side. What is opposite side? That is credit. So you are supposed to write same balance 38,400 on opposite debit side. You will be writing a little different reference, and what is that? You will write balance. Since you have brought it down, so you will mention this is the balance brought down. This was the requirement for making ledger of bank. Requirement completed. We have calculated our closing balance, which was brought down as well. It means ledger of bank is completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line over here. These sums were calculated just for the reference. They are now unneeded to be written over here, so you may erase them. Ledger number 12 is completed. It was ledger of bank. It's time to see what is our next ledger. So here was your bank. You have completed ledger for bank. Next unmarked element is discount. So we will be making ledger for discount. For this, what we will do, we will take headings from the previous ledger and same heading will be used to make new ledger. So what we will do, we will change the title. It is discount and I am hopeful it is discount received. Change the number as well. We are making 13th ledger. Let's see if it is discount received or allowed. Okay, 400 discount received. You can see entries before this entry, all entries are marked. So we are not looking anything before this discount. Everything is present after this element present in January 24. So we will be focusing only these entries which are unmarked. Discount received is credited 400. So we will go to the ledger of discount. We'll write 400 on credit side. It's time to see the reference of 400. Here is 400 discount credited. What is reference? That means what is written on the opposite side is Salman. So Salman would be used as reference. Write down with an additional word of by Salman. Okay. 400 was the discount. Let's see what was its date. That is January 24. So we are needed to put date January 24 in date column. This way posting for 400 is completed. As 400 is posting in discounts ledger completed, it means we can mark it as it has been done. So we are now looking for discount received if it is present anywhere else. Here you can see the discount, but it is discount allowed. Skip it. We are actually looking for discount received. From here to here, no discount received is present anywhere else. It means posting for discount received is completed. It's time to calculate its balance. Step number 1 is to see total of both sides. Sum of debit side is 0. Sum of credit side is 400, as there is only one amount present on credit side and nothing is present on debit side. We have calculated the balance. Now make comparison of sum of both sides. 400 and 0, which is larger sum? That is 400. So you are needed to put this total on both sides. you will put the same total 400 on debit side, and you are in need to put same total on credit side as well. Step 1 is completed. You have summed up both sides, took larger sum and hit return on total of both sides. Now second step is to choose smaller side, which is debit side. Here you will write to balance over here. This balance is initial balance and will be calculated by subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. So on calculator you will write larger sum, subtract smaller sum, and you will get the balance. Now see what is the larger balance. Credit side total was 400, debit side total was 0. So larger sum was 400 and smaller sum was 0. Here you have calculated your balance. This is initial step completed for balance. Next step is to brought this balance to the opposite side downwards. We have calculated this balance on debit side, so you are needed to go to the opposite credit side and write down the same balance downwards. And this way you brought the balance down, so you will give reference by balance, but this balance is brought down. So you will mark it. This was the requirement of making discounts ledger. Our requirement completed. Mark this ledger as it has been completed by putting a closing line over here. Number 13th ledger discount is completed. These sums were written just for the reference. Now they are not needed. Erase them. Discount 13th ledger is completed. So let's go back and see. We have made discount allowed ledger. Now look which element is unmarked. Next element which is unmarked is discount allowed. So we are going to make ledger for discount allowed. For this we will take headings from the previous ledger and we'll write the same headings for making the next ledger. Next ledger is discount received and discount allowed. So we will change the title. It was discount received. And now we are going to make discount allowed ledger. This is next ledger. Change the number. 14th ledger we are making. So we will focus on discount allowed now. These are our journal entries. First element had arrived on January 26. Discount allowed is debited by 200. So go to discount allowed and write down 200 on debit side. It's time to see what is reference for this 200. Here is your entry 200, and what is written on the opposite side? It is Shahid. So you will write to Shahid as a reference. Since discount is allowed, so Shahid was the person from whom amount was receivable. He was your account receivable. You can put reference as account receivable. Let's check it out if Shahid is written as account receivable for 200. So here was your 200 and Shahid is written on opposite side, and account receivable is also mentioned over here. So it's a good to go. January 26 was the date. Put date over here. January 26. So this way posting for 200 is completed. Let's see if discount allowed is present anywhere else. These three entries are left and discount is not present over there. It means 200 is posted. Posting is completed, mean we can mark it as discount allowed has been done January 26. Okay, so January 26 entry is completed. See if discount is present anywhere else. These three entries were left. Discount is not mentioned over there. It means posting for discount is completed. Now it's time to calculate the balance. First step is to take sum of both sides. Sum of debit side is 200. As there is only one amount, sum of credit side is 0 as nothing is mentioned over here. Sums are calculated, make comparison 200 and 0. Which is larger sum? 200. So you are supposed to write 200 on total of both sides. First you will write 200 on debit side and you are supposed to write same 200 on opposite credit side as well. Step 1 completed. You have calculated total of both sides. Sum of debit side was 200, sum credit 0. You made comparison. Larger sum you have put on total of both sides. Now second step is to choose smaller side. Credit side was the smaller as sum was 0. you will choose it and will write by balance. This is initial balance. And how would you calculate it? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. On calculator you will write larger sum first and then you will subtract the smaller sum. Here now you can calculate. Total of debit side was 200, total of credit side was 0, so it means larger sum was 200 and you will subtract smaller sum which was 0. So initial balance is calculated, which is 200. It's time to take the next step, and what you will do, you will brought this balance downwards to the opposite side. Initial balance was calculated on credit, so you will go to the opposite side downwards and will write the same balance, same initial balance on opposite side with a twisted name, and you will write to balance over here. Why I am calling twisted? Because you will write brought down with it. This was the requirement of making ledger for the discount. Requirement completed. You have calculated balance brought down, so you can mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after that. These sums were written just for the reference. Now they are unneeded to be written over here, so you may erase them. We have completed ledger number 14, discount allowed. Now let's see what is next. Discount allowed 200 is completed. What is unmarked entry element? You can see that drawings 6000 is our next ledger. So we are going to make ledger for the discount. For this we will take headings from the previous ledger and we'll write the same headings for next ledger just by changing the title. We had made discount allowed. Now we are going to make ledger for drawings. We will change the number as well. We are now making 15th ledger, drawings. Let's see how many entries contains drawings. This is first entry. Drawings are debited by 6000. You will go to the drawings ledger and will write 6000 on debit side in amount column. Let's see what was the reference for this drawing. 6000 is debited. What is written on the opposite side? It is cash. So you are going to write to cash in particular column. Reference is completed for 6000. See what was the date for this 6000, January 28. So you are going to put January 28 in date column. Date is written, reference is written, 6000 posting is completed for drawings. So put 6000 and mark it as it has been done. Now we will see if drawings are present in next two entries. No, it means posting for drawings is completed. You are now ready to calculate the balance. For balance, as usual, what you are going to do, you will calculate the sum of both sides. Here the sum of debit side is 6000, as there is only amount present over here, and sum of credit side is 0. Now make the comparison of both sum. Sum debit 6000, sum of credit 0. Choose the larger sum, which is 6000. So you are going to put this larger sum on total of both side, which is 6000 you have put on debit side, and same total we are going to put on credit side as well. Step 1 is completed. We had taken sum of debit, sum of credit, larger sum is taken, and we had posted larger sum on total of both sides. Step 1 completed. Now see which was the larger sum. 6000 on debit side, 6 and 0 on credit side. So credit side was the smaller total. Credit side was the side which sum of which was smaller. We will choose this side and will write initial balance over here. And how you would calculate initial balance? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. On calculator you will write larger total, subtract smaller total from it. There you will get the balance. Now see, debit side sum was 6000, 0 was the sum of credit side, larger sum is 6000, and you will subtract smaller sum, which is 0. So this is your balance, initial balance. First step is completed. Now you are needed to bring it down to the opposite side. Coincidentally 6000 is already been written, which was the sum of debit side, and same is the balance, initial balance. You have brought it down to the opposite side, which was debit side. Initial balance was calculated on credit side. You have brought it down to the opposite debit side. Now you will write a twisted name, which is to balance, but you will write balance brought down beside it, brought down. This was our requirement of making drawings ledger. Requirement completed. So mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line over here. This balance, this was the sum and it is not needed to be written over here. You may erase it. Everything else is okay. Drawing ledger is completed. Now let's see what is next ledger to be made. Ledger for drawings we have made. Next unmarked element is electricity bill. So you are going to make ledger for electricity bill. What you will do, you will take headings from the previous ledger and will use the same heading for making of next ledger just by changing the title. Now we are making after drawings what was unmarked element. After drawing it was electricity bill. So you are going to make electricity bills ledger and change the number. 16th ledger it is. All right. So we will be focusing on electricity only. If electricity is debited, we will choose the debit side in the ledger. If electricity is present on credit side, we will choose the credit side. Electricity bill arrived and it is debited by 2000. So we will go to the electricity bill, we'll choose debit side and we'll write 2000 on amount column. Let's see what was the reference. This 2000 we have written. What is written on the opposite side is cash. So you will put 2 cash as your reference. See what was the date for this 2000. It is January 30. So you will be putting January 30 in date column. Here posting for 2000 is completed. For drawings and for electricity bill, so you can mark it as it has been done. So there are 3 amounts and you can see there is another entry, cash 2000 is left unmarked. We will have to check it why it is unmarked. January 30 2000 credit, cash ledger 2000 credit January 30. Thankfully we have posted January 30 cash credit 2000, January 30 cash credit 2000 for electricity bill. So it's good, we have already posted, but typographically it was not marked as it has been done. So January 30 completed. Next unmarked element is salaries. So we are now going to make ledger for salaries. Before that we will be balancing electricity bill ledger. First step is to take total of both sides. Total of debit side is 2000 and total of credit side is 0 as nothing is mentioned over here. Now make the comparison of both total. Total debit is 2000, total of credit is 0. It means larger sum is 2000. So we are going to put this larger sum on total of both sides. First you will write 2000 on debit side and same total you are supposed to write on opposite credit side as well, but you will use the same row parallel to the debit side. First step is completed. Sum of both sides, larger sum picked and written on total of both sides. Now choose the smaller side. As total of credit side was 0, so you will choose smaller side which is credit side and will write initial balance by writing by balance. How you will calculate this by balance? By subtracting smaller total from the larger total. You will write on calculator larger sum, will subtract smaller sum from the larger sum. Let's calculate this balance. Here you have total of both side, debit side 2000, credit side 0. So larger sum is 2000 and you will subtract smaller sum which is 0. So initial step of calculation of balance is completed. Next step is to pick this balance and brought it downwards to the opposite side. Initial balance was calculated on credit side. We will go to opposite debit side and will write the same balance, initial balance on the opposite side, but with a changed name. You will write over here balance. As you have brought it down, so you will mention this balance was brought down. And this was our requirement of making electricity ledger. As requirement completed, so you can mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after it. These 2 sums were written just for the reference. They are now not needed to be written over here. We can erase them. Electricity bills ledger 16 number is completed. Let's see what is next. Here is our journal. We have completed electricity bill. Which element is unmarked next? That is salaries. So there are two elements left. Second last is salaries. So we are now going to make ledger for salaries. For this, what we will do, we will use the same headings which were used for the previous ledger, and we will edit ledger title. We are now going to make ledger for salaries, and this ledger is 17th number. See where salaries are present. Here first entry, it is debited by 4,000. So we will go to the ledger of salaries and we'll write 4,000 on debit side. It's time to see its reference. Salary was debited by 4,000, and what is written on the opposite side, it is bank. So you will be writing to bank in reference column. It was last entry, I think 31st is the date. Yes, January 31. So put date January 31. Okay, date is completed. Posting for 4,000 is completed. So you can mark it as it has been done. You are making salaries ledger and it is last entry. It means salary is not present anywhere else. Salaries ledger is completed. So it's time to calculate its balance. Okay, for calculation, what you will do, you will take sum of both sides first. Sum of debit side is 4,000 and sum of credit side is 0, as nothing is mentioned on credit side. So you have taken sum of both sides, 4,000 and 0. Make comparison and choose the larger sum. Larger sum is 4,000. So you are going to put larger sum on both sides. Put 4,000 on debit side, and you are needed to write same total on credit side as well. First step is completed. Taken sum of both sides, chosen larger sum and written larger sum on total of both sides. Next step is to choose smaller side. Total of credit side was 0. It means smaller side is credit side. Write down by balance over here. It is initial balance. And how would you calculate initial balance? By subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. On calculator you will write larger sum, will subtract smaller sum from it. Let's calculate. Total of debit side 4,000, total of credit side 0. So larger sum is 4,000 and you will subtract smaller sum which is 0. Here you have calculated the initial balance. First step is completed. Next step is to brought it down to the opposite side. Initial balance was calculated on credit. So you will go to the debit side downwards and will write the same initial balance on opposite debit side as well. You will change the name and will write to balance over here. And how you will change, since you have brought it down, so you will write BD beside it. And balance brought down was our requirement for making salaries ledger. Requirement completed, it means you can mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line after that. These sums were written just for the reference. They are now not needed. You can erase them. 17th ledger, salaries completed. Let's see if it is anything unmarked. And yes, last unmarked thing is insurance. So we are now going to make ledger for insurance. For this, what you will do, you will take headings of previous ledger and we'll write the same headings for the next ledger just by changing its title. We were making salaries ledger and now it's insurance ledger. Change the number as well, and you can see the same headings are used for making last ledger as well. Ledger number 18, insurance. We will be looking insurance where it is present, and here you can see insurance is debited by 2,000, I think. Yes, 2,000. So go to the ledger and write down 2,000 on debit side in amount column. 2,000 has been written. Now see what was the reference. Here I will just request you, don't lose your focus if you are solving the longer question. Now you can see my condition. I will have to see several amounts from the left side, from the upper side, from the down side, and have to see the headings, have to see the lines. If I will lose my focus just for the microsecond, you will see there will be a mistake. Insurance is debited by 2,000. What is reference for 2,000? The element which is written on the opposite side is bank. So it means reference for this 2,000 is to bank, which would be written in particular column. Its last entry, I think the date was January 31. Yes, so put the date over here. The same procedure you are doing for the last ledger which you have done for the first ledger. January 31 is the date, and since it was the last entry, insurance, and nothing is present after this entry, you have posted 2000. That means posting is completed for 2000. Mark it as it has been done, and no entry is present next where it means posting for insurance is completed. It's time to calculate the balance, for which you will take the sum of debit side, sum of both sides. Sum of debit side is 2000, sum of credit side is 0, as nothing is mentioned over here. Okay, totals we have calculated. Next step is to make comparison of sum of both sides. Take the larger sum, which is 2000, and write down this larger sum on total of both sides. On debit side you will put 2000, and same 2000 you are going to put on credit side as well. So first step is completed. Sum of both sides, larger sum picked and written on total of both sides. Next step is to see smaller total side. Total of credit side was 0, so smaller side is credit side. There you will write by balance, but it's an initial balance which will be calculated by subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. So on calculator you will write larger sum, will subtract the smaller sum from it. Let's calculate this balance. Sum of debit 2000, sum of credit 0, so larger sum is 2000. Write down first, and then subtract smaller sum, which is 0. Here you have calculated your initial balance. This is first step, and the next step is to bring it down to the opposite side. You have calculated this balance on credit. Go to opposite side debit downwards and write down the same balance, same initial balance you have calculated, which is 2000. Change its reference. Now you are going to write it as balance. Since you have brought it down, so you will mention BD beside it. Balance was brought down. This was our requirement of making insurance. Requirement completed. Mark it as it has been done by putting a closing line. So these sums were written just for the reference. They are now not needed to be written over here. You can erase them. This way your ledger number 18 for insurance is completed, and you can see over here this was the last element which was unmarked, and now it is marked, mean all ledgers are completed. If all ledgers are completed, you can recheck that journal entries were started from here. Each and every element is marked. Okay, so we can be satisfied that all entries present on journal are being posted or had been posted in our ledgers. Ledgers are completed, as at the start of the question it was promised that we will make journal and then we will make ledger. Third step is still pending, that we are going to make trial balance. This is the most interesting part of any question. Why? Because by making trial balance we will come to know that journal entries are recorded in a proper way, ledgers are made in proper way. Why? Because total of both sides of trial balance will automatically be equalized. So it's very interesting element of this question. See how much work we have done. We have made so many ledgers, we have entered so many journal entries, we have recorded journal entries. Now it's time to make our trial balance. So guys, after completion of journal entries, after completion of all ledgers, you can see from 1 to continuously we were making. So 1 to 18 all ledgers are completed. It's time to turn these ledgers into trial balance. Look how hard work it was. Not ending yet. So these ledgers we have completed, and now it's time to make its trial balance. So here we are having our question number 1. Let's make the trial balance. For that purpose you will have to make what? Very first thing is to put the number of ledger, and then you are needed to put title, or you may write detail over here, then balance if it is present on debit side, and then balance if it is present on credit side. So these are the headings for trial balance which you will use. So highlight them and These heading will be used for making of trial balance. So here we will give main heading, that is trial balance, and you will write this heading beside name and beside date of making trial balance. All right, so headings completed and subheadings are completed. It's time to put values under it. Here we will put the numbers. The very first ledger which we have made was ledger for cash. It is number 1 cash. Now please be attentive. We will be focusing upon balance which is brought down. We will pick the same side and we will be transferring amount of the same side. So listen again, don't consider it as instruction, it is just suggestion. You will have to be very attentive. You will choose the title first. This is your cash ledger and put the title over here. What ledger you are posting here is cash. And the second most important thing which you are going to do is to put the amount. We have two options. We can put this amount on debit side, we can put this amount on credit side. But what I was saying, you will go to the balance brought down and you will see the side and you will see the amount. What we are needed, we are going to put the amount on any of this side. So first we will pick the amount which is written in front of balance brought down, and then you will see the side. The balance brought down you will be looking, and you will see the side at which side you have brought it down. You will choose the same side. Okay, hopefully you have understood. This was your cash ledger and this is balance brought down over here, and you have seen that balance is brought down on which side? Debit, and balance is 51,800. So what you are going to do, since balance is brought down on debit side, you will go and see balance was 51,800. So you will post the same balance on the debit side of trial balance as well. Here posting for cash ledger on trial balance is completed. Once again, please listen. You were making cash ledger, you have seen balance, it is brought down on the debit side. So you will choose debit side of trial balance and will post the balance brought down in debit column. First posting is completed. Now see what is second ledger. The second ledger is ledger for capital, and you will see now where the balance brought down is written. Here is your capital ledger. Balance brought down is written on credit side, and balance brought down is 3,70,000. Put it on credit side of trial balance. All right. So now we will see the third title. Posting of ledgers into the trial balance method is absolutely same for every ledger. So we are repeating it for 17-18 times. All right guys, now see what is third ledger. This is furniture. So you will write title first, furniture, and now you will go to the ledger and will see where balance is present for the furniture. Third ledger was furniture. Balance was brought down here on debit side. Balance was 40,000. So you are going to choose debit side of trial balance and will write 40,000 in front of furniture. Here you can see 40,000 in front of furniture, and we have chosen the debit side. This was your debit side. Amount is written on debit column of trial balance 40,000. That means ledger number 3 posting is completed. We are now going to see what fourth ledger is saying. Ledger number 4 is building. So you will give title first. We are now posting answer of building in trial balance, and here you will see where balance is brought down for building. This is your ledger for building. Balance is brought down on debit side. Amount is 2 lakh. So you will choose same debit side in the trial balance and will write amount of balance brought down on debit side. As you can see, we have written chosen debit side. Amount of balance is written in debit column 2 lakh in front of building. Posting for building is completed. Now let's see what fifth ledger is saying. Our fifth ledger is ledger for purchase. Put its title first. We are posting purchase. Now it's time to see where amount of purchase is written, balance brought down. This is your purchase ledger and this is your balance which is brought down on debit side, as you can see, and amount is 1,26,000. So you will go to the trial balance, will choose debit side, in front of purchase you will write 126,000. Now you can see debit side you have chosen 126,000 written in front of purchase. So posting for purchase is also completed. Now we will see what sixth entry, sixth ledger is saying to us. This is your sixth ledger, Asif account payable. So you will write the title first, Asif, who was your account payable. And now you will see what is balance for Asif, and the ledger number is 6. Here you have ledger number 6. Balance is calculated on credit side. We have brought this balance on credit side. So we will choose the credit side in trial balance. In front of Asif we will write 14,000. Here you can see we have chosen credit side. Balance is written in front of Asif 14,000. That means sixth ledger is posted. Let's see what seventh ledger is saying to us. Seventh ledger is for sales. So we will change the title sales over. We will write the title sales over here. For sales, we'll have to see where balance is brought down in terms of sales. This is your sales ledger. Balance is brought down on credit side. It is 1,10,000. So in trial balance, you will choose the credit side. In front of sales on credit side, you will write 1,10,000. So you can see credit side is chosen, in front of sale 1,10,000. Sales ledger is posted. It's time to post eighth ledger. First we will see the title of eighth ledger, and that is Shahid. You can see eighth ledger is for Shahid. So write down the title, but we'll have to see Shahid was account receivable, eighth ledger. Yes, he was your account receivable. So you will mention over here as well, account receivable. Now let's see what is balance of Shahid and where balance is brought down. Eighth ledger, Shahid here is, but there is no balance. Balance is not present on credit side, balance is not present on debit side, mean it is automatically balanced. So what you will do if no balance is present for Shahid? Then obviously if balance is not present, you may write 0 on both sides, as it was automatically being balanced. Now we will see ninth ledger. First we will see its title of ninth ledger, that is typewriter. So go and write typewriter in title column. Now we will see where balance of typewriter is brought down. The ledger number is 9. Here you have ledger number 9. The balance is brought down on debit side 16,000. So in trial balance you will choose debit side and will write 16,000 in front of typewriter. Debit side you have chosen 16,000 written in front of typewriter. Ledger number 9 is completed. It's time to see what is 10th ledger. So title of 10th ledger is iron safe. So you are going to post or put iron safe in title, and now you are going to say where amount of balance brought down for iron safe. It was ledger number 10. So let's go to the ledger number 10. This is iron safe and balance brought down is on debit side. So on trial balance you will choose debit side, will write 8,000 in front of iron safe. Now you can see debit side 8,000 in front of iron safe. Let me check again. Iron safe was 10,000. So here iron safe and 8,000 you have written. All right, the amount is written correctly in front of debit side. Iron safe 8,000. Ledger number 10 is completed. Now let's see what is title for ledger number 11. This is ledger number 11, Salman account payable, and you can see there is no balance. So just we are trying to save our time. No balance is written over here in Salman's ledger. So you can write title first. Here we have our trial balance, Salman, and hopefully he is your account payable. And for Salman there is no balance calculated, it was automatically balanced, both sides were equal, so you may write 0 on the debit side and 0 as well on the credit side. As ledger number 11, Salman account payable, will have to check he was payable or receivable. Salman was account payable, okay, matter is solved. Next ledger is bank's ledger, ledger number 12, bank. So you will write the number first, 12, and you are making bank's ledger. So it's time to see where balance of bank is present. Here is your ledger number 12, and in ledger number 12 you have written your balance on debit side. Balance is 38,400. So you will choose debit of trial balance, and in front of bank you are going to write 38,400 in debit column. So you have chosen debit column, 38,400. In front of bank you have written the amount. So posting for 12th ledger is completed. It's time to see 13th ledger. First we will see title of 13th ledger is what? That is discount. So you will have to see its discount allowed, discount received. So you will write title discount received first in title column. It is discount received. All right, and now we will see where balance of discount received is brought down. Ledger for discount received, here it has been arrived. It is 13th ledger, and you can see balance is brought down on credit side. Amount is 400. So you will choose credit side of trial balance. Will write 400 in front of discount received. Credit side you have chosen, you have written 400 in front of discount received. Ledger number 13 is completed. Now we are going to prepare our 14th ledger posting. First we will see ledger number 14 title. Here it has been arrived and it is discount allowed. So you are going to put title first in detail column, discount, but this discount is discount received, not this is discount allowed. Discount received is already posted. For discount allowed, now it's time to see where its balance has been brought down. We are looking discount allowed. All right, this is your discount allowed, and you have calculated balance on debit side. 200 is the amount. So in trial balance you will choose the debit side, and in front of discount you will be writing 200. Debit side first you have chosen, and then 200 in front of discount allowed. 14th ledger is completed. It's time to see your 15th ledger. First we will see the title of 15th ledger. This is your 15th ledger, that is drawings. So you are going to put title in detail column, that is drawings. Now you will see where balance of drawings ledger has been brought down. So we are looking drawings. Here you have your ledger of drawings, and the balance is brought down on debit side. Amount is 6,000. So you will choose debit side in trial balance. Same side would be chosen. So debit side would be chosen for drawings. In front of drawings you will write 6,000. Here you can see debit side is chosen, 6,000 written in front of drawings. It's okay. So we are now up to 16th ledger. First we will see the title of 16th ledger, and this is electricity bill. So you will write electricity bill in title column. Okay, and we will see where the balance is brought down for electricity bill. It was here, you have your ledger electricity bill. Okay, the balance is brought down on debit side. Amount is 2,000. Since balance is brought down on debit side, we will choose same debit side in trial balance. We write 2,000 in front of electricity bill. So debit side electricity bill, and we have written 2000. It means posting for 16th ledger is completed. It's time to see 17th ledger. First step is to see title of 17th ledger, that is salaries. So you will put title first in front of 17th number ledger. Title is salaries, put in detail column. And now it's time to see where balance of salaries ledger is brought down. Here you have your ledger salaries, and you have brought down its balance on debit side. 4000 is the amount of balance. You will choose the same debit side in trial balance and will write 4000 in front of salaries. Same debit side is chosen. 4000 is written in front of salaries. 17th ledger is completed. It's time to see 18th ledger. First we will see the title of 18th ledger. You can see title of 18th ledger is insurance. So you are going to put title insurance in detail column. It's time to see its balance, at which side balance of insurance is brought down. It was our last ledger. Here ledger of insurance arrived, balance is brought down on debit side, amount is 2000. So you will choose the same debit side in trial balance. In front of insurance you will write 2000. Here you can see you have chosen the debit side. 2000 is written in front of insurance. It means 18th ledger is completed. And as you know that last ledger number was 18th, and in other meaning posting of all the ledgers in trial balance is completed. So it's time to get the fruit. We will take some of this side, some of this side, and the sum of debit and credit side would automatically be equalized, which will show that we can take a sigh of relief. All amounts are correct. Let's